Hi there, everyone. Welcome to this episode of An Engineer's Guide to Hell Let Loose. In this one, we're taking a look at Airfield Command on the El Alamein map from the British perspective. And here we are looking at the El Alamein map. The red square I've drawn over the four grid squares is the capable zone. If you're in it, you can add your cap weight to controlling Airfield Command. If you're in the circle, the strong point, the hard cap, then your cap weight is multiplied. There are two general ways the Germans are going to get into Airfield Command. The first comes down a kind of ridge like that. The other is a general movement either through Airfield Hangar, that's the kind of most direct route, or through the backside into this hangar behind Airfield Command. Remember, they can get Red Zone Garys and OPs up in this sector if Airfield Command is the active, for the British, defending zone. And the way they would get there is most likely coming through here and then going either that way or that way. Before we leave this map, we'll just make a few comments about the implications of what your side is attacking. If it's valley, most likely you're pushing that way, or if you can get there this way, but it's not a huge difference. And so in that case, you might be a little bit less concerned about the south side push. You should be quite concerned about a push from up here because it's not the obvious way to get into valley for your attackers, and it's pub play, and so a lot of people are looking to attack. That's fine. Be more concerned about that top side attack. If it's oasis that your attackers are coming from, no promises, but it's likely going to emanate from that trench system up there that is on a plateau. It could possibly come through the backside through valley. Either of those might disrupt the attack a little bit. It's hard to know. You kind of got to just assume that both attacks are coming. If it's Desert Rat trenches, the primary ways to push would be there, or use the elevation of the cliffs to actually screen your movement up like that. In this case, be less concerned about the topside attack and be very concerned about this because your attackers really don't have any of this in mind. Before I leave this, I will make just an observation here. There is a key point on this map that I cannot think of anything else that's like this on any other map. But this area up here, which we're going to take a look at first when we hop back in game, it's on the top of a plateau. It's already significantly fortified. It's a fine position to begin with, and it influences so much of what happens in these caps, the center cap zone and then the British capable zone that's not its HQ. It has a very easy ingress path to Desert Rat trenches. It's the primary staging ground for an attack on Airfield Command. It's it's definitely the shortest route for the British to get into Oasis, maybe their best attack route. It gives whoever controls it excellent sight lines into this open area for any movement between Valley and Airfield hangars. And if it's fuel depot you have to defend, and the Germans have control of it, they are not far at all from the soft cap. All right, we're going to hop back in game and take a look at what we need to defend against. All right, so here we are with Airfield Command right in front of us. We can see that Oasis is back there, the center cap. Before we take a look at the attack paths, I do want to turn just to this plateau position, this kind of king of the hill position, and show you again where it is. It's this series of trenches out here. But looking to the top of the map, there is the Desert Rat trenches, which can be a challenge to take. That is the fuel depot. That is the Oasis. That is Valley. And those are the airfield hangars. And it's a staging ground for the first good attack path into Airfield Command, which is that the Germans get it. They stay low on this ridge. And if they're controlling all the backside, you have no way to harass them. They just come up and over, and they start off with control of the high ground in and around your hard cap. They can also then break off that attack and move around and get to the bottom side. And this is going to link up with the other way in, or the other general way into Airfield Command, which is to hug the bottom of the map. There are these ridges which will provide cover and concealment for a ways, and then a push in. You can get control, the Germans can get control of those hangars, and then move through to these hangars here, and then push up into Airfield Command using the elevation actually against the defenders, and then a variation of that attack. It's more about wiping out British spawns, but a danker flank to the backside, I understand it covers a lot more open ground, but if it gets into your backup spawns here, the defense of Airfield Command is made all that much more difficult. So those are the main attacking paths in. We'll turn now to what, if any, engineering solutions there are. All right, so my primary build recommendation is going to be to build, you can see where we are on the map here, around the hangars, and it defends the bottom side push in Airfield Command. The reason is that if you're not sure where the attack's going to come from, both attacks can converge here. And so some sort of obstacle, fortification, speed bump, whatever you want to call it, would be useful in disrupting that attack. And it's supposed to link spawns, which I suspect you have down here, to Airfield Command, the strong point, and to get something up that might reduce the sight lines from German lines into the travel path from your spawns over here in the Airfield Command. But the basic idea is to use barbed wire on the top side and hedgehogs to force them into the trenches. Don't allow them to get on this barrier. If they get inside, at least right now, you can place anti-personnel mines inside the hangars. And so keep that in mind. I would still put 2 or 3 in here. And if you have a spare hedgehog left over, you can put it at the end to make it hard to get out. If they want to get out over there, that's okay, because the other part of this build is to get barricades. And I would suggest the bunker being built, it is really finicky on this map, as best you can here and approximately here. There's a trade-off. The further up you go, the better sight lines you'll have for possibly the MG or whoever is going to be in here looking out. But the more you can get shot from the bottom side, kind of towards the valley. If you recess it back further, you're less likely to get shot from the left, and the plateau is kind of the same. You don't gain too much there, but there is a dip, and so that the sight lines are a bit reduced. And then 1 or 2 barricades built up to the back. Built up to level 3, that should reduce some of the sight lines coming from German fire up on that hill, which your friendlies might be trying to take. On the backside, you should have about 2 strands of barbed wire and at least 2 barricades. I think the barricades make sense to build maybe coming off this plane here. It's, I don't know what I don't have my protractor. Maybe it's like a 15, no, not a 15, but more like an 80-degree angle out. I don't know exactly what the angle is. But the point is, you're now looking to the very south of the map. That's where I think the built-up barricades go. I think the barbed wire, I'm going to prefer that it come out at an angle, maybe 30 degrees, but basically to the corner of that hangar. So there's no easy ingress path around. Whoever comes down on this low ground has to go out here. And if they want to come around on a wider flank, they got to come up on the hills. They got to invest time to do that. So that's that build. One of the beauties of it, besides being at the kind of convergence point of both attacking paths, is that you can dump supplies here. It's relatively quick and easy to take this path here. It goes down, and then you're into center HQ. And so particularly early in the game, before the Germans get up on you, you should be able to get quite a bit of your supplies down. All right, and let me wrap this video with my honorable mention build, which is, see where we are down on the map. We are quite a ways from Airfield Command. I know that, so that's why it's the honorable mention build. But this is the B-roll footage from the first episode I did of An Engineer's Guide to Hell Let Loose. If you can get bunkers and barricades up here, some with angles out here and others with angles, that's the bottom side flank. if you can get those built up and you can support it either with barbed wire and a spawn down here to make it harder to get your backside, whatever the case, I mean, spawns aren't your issue. But if you can get an MG rifleman up here who have that kind of cover built up for them, beyond the natural cover that they can find, you can really complicate that south side push, both on the approach down there, but also on the push up here. The downside of this is that, yeah, if there's a squad down here and you're defending, that's a lot of cap weight that's not even in the soft cap. Or at least some of it's not even in the soft cap. And the downside is, if you take this and you lose it, you have gifted the enemy a very strong position. One of the additional advantages is a very easy supply run. You go there, you go left, you drive through the quarry, and you are in bottom HQ. So it's relatively quick to resupply. That's going to do it. I'm not going to talk about building up in the rat trenches. I don't think there is, or not in the rat trenches, but in that plateau. I think it's too far, and it's too risky to lose to really warrant building. If you're going to do anything up there, anti-personnel landmines and maybe barbed wire, just to complicate things a bit. But I wouldn't go beyond that. It's not even getting an honorable mention. It's getting maybe a participation ribbon. But that is going to wrap it for this episode. I know it's tough to play, nevertheless defend as the British on El Alamein at the moment. Hopefully, this gives you some thoughts as to how you might do that. If you try it out, report your results, and let's see what we get.